Center, project PA 16-0134.
Thank you, Chair. I'll get the PowerPoint loaded up here in a sec. Okay, item 2.1, the Wildomar Crossings Retail Center. The project's located on the vacant site at the northwest corner of Stable Lanes and Clinton Keith. It's about a 3.4-acre site. The applications that are before you tonight are action with a recommendation to the City Council on the mitigated negative declaration, a change of zone from RR to C1CP to be consistent with the general plan land use of commercial retail, approval or recommendation of a tentative parcel map to subdivide 2 parcels into 4, and then a plot plan approval to develop the 26,000 square foot commercial project. So we did do a negative declaration, mitigated negative declaration on this project. The draft ISM&D was circulated for its 30-day review period from January 31st to March 1st of this year. The city did receive 8 comment letters from various agencies and interested persons. The city, in accordance with our policy, prepared detailed responses to each comment letter as part of the final M&D package and MMRP. The package was sent to commenters 10 days prior to this meeting in accordance with city policy, and in staff's review of the M&D, all project-related impacts have been mitigated in accordance with CEQA law. There were approximately 29 mitigation measures in the M&D that have been put into the conditions of approval matrix for the parcel map and the plot plan. The proposed change of zone, the existing zoning on the site is rural residential. That zone has been in existence since incorporation. The request is to change it to C1CP, which is our general commercial zone, to accommodate the project. The C1CP zone does permit the development of commercial retail centers and various retail uses. According to our general plan, the C1CP zone is highly consistent with the land use designation of commercial retail. That too has been in existence since incorporation. And the project site has been planned as a retail center since incorporation in 2008. Whoops. So this is a kind of an existing zoning designation map. You can see on the left the site as it is RR. You have RR to the west and to the east, R1 to the north, commercial, C1CP, and CPS along the Clinton Keith corridor. The map on the right shows the red box would be the commercial C1CP zoning if the council ultimately approves the zone change. Sorry. So the tentative parcel map, as I mentioned, is subdivide the 3.8-acre site into 5 parcels. Each parcel ranges in size from 0.31 acres to 1 acre. Each parcel meets and exceeds the minimum commercial zoning parcel size outlined in the C1CP zone. Currently, the minimum standard for subdividing in the commercial zone is 0 acres. You don't have a minimum lot size. So each of the lots are large enough where they exceed the minimum standard, obviously, and then are large enough to accommodate the proposed uses that you see in that table. It's real sensitive tonight. This is the parcel map. The dark lines are basically how it's broken up. You have the 4 parcels, the 4 uses. There's a 5th parcel in the lower left-hand corner, parcel A, which is the outfall area. It's a kind of an open space area that will be protected and used as a drainage. In terms of the plot plan, we'll allow the development of the 26,000 square foot retail center with 4 buildings. The applicant has secured 3 tenants, Dollar Tree, AutoZone, and Wendy's. The buildings range in size from 2,600 to 10,000 square feet. And you can see the breakdown there. I do want to say, as we have received many comments from residents in North Ranch, there was a petition that came through that was in the agenda packet, as well as a couple of individual letters saying that they don't like the tenant mix in this particular development. Our zoning code, unfortunately, does not allow us the flexibility to regulate the type of users, only the use, whether it's commercial, office, or that way. So I wanted to just put that on the record right now. So the development requires 144 parking spaces. The applicant has provided 145. Each stall has been designed to meet our standards. A reciprocal access and parking agreement will be recorded currently with the final parcel map. That will allow everyone to park on any parcel and move around the center freely. And the proposed buildings comply with the development standards of the C1 CP zone in terms of setbacks, building height, landscaping, and lot coverage. Primary access to the site for visitors and employees will occur from stable lanes. There is a provision that no left turn northwards for delivery trucks leaving the site. Secondary access to the site will occur off Clinton Keith, which will have a right-in, right-only provision. The project has been conditioned to construct full public improvements on stable lanes at Clinton Keith. That includes, and most importantly, a traffic signal at the intersection of stable lanes and Clinton Keith. Moving on, all roof-mounted equipment will be screened in accordance with city standards. One thing to point out, in the MND we did have a provision, it's also in our planning conditions, that truck deliveries are restricted to the hours of 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. to help minimize noise impacts. The site's been designed to provide buffering, landscaping, and walls along the north and west property lines. In addition, there is a condition, and I'll talk about that in a few minutes, that kind of requests the applicant to coordinate with the North Ranch HOA to provide additional landscaping along that slope, which is between the just north of the project site leading up to the homes on the hill. This landscaping should include a variety of 24 and 36-inch box trees and a variety of shrubs along that slope area. This is a current landscape plan and site plan for the site. You can see the layout around the perimeter and the interior. The proposed architecture is, for the retail project, is generally characterized as modern craftsman. The design elements include such things as stucco, wood trellises, and columns, and I'll have some pictures of that. Does have an earth tone color scheme. Staff worked with the applicant to achieve an architectural design that is compatible with the design of existing retail centers along the Clinton Keith corridor. As you know, we have a variety of different styles that were done in the 80s and most recently done with the barn right on the corner. Whoops. So this is the Dollar Tree store. This will be the anchor tenant according to the applicant. This thing's really sensitive tonight. The AutoZone store. That'll be adjacent to stable lanes. The Dollar Tree stores in the back left of the property. This is the Wendy's restaurant, kind of in the middle. And then the multi-tenant retail, there's about, I think, 4 spaces in this building. There has been no leases secured for that, so there will be other retail type uses. So staff's recommendations tonight is for the Planning Commission to adopt PC Resolution 2018-08, recommending council adoption of the MND and the MMRP. Secondly, adopt Resolution 2018-09, recommending council approval of the change of zone. And then adopt PC Resolution 2810, recommending council approval of the tentative parcel map, subject to conditions. And then fourthly, the adoption of PC Resolution 2018-11, recommending city council approval of the plot plan, subject to conditions. At this time, I just want to point out that we did receive, in the last couple of days, you have copies of a letter from Mr. Tom Usiakos, I'm not sure I pronounced that properly, citing concerns about the project. And then we got another letter again from Witter Parkin, who's an attorney representing the Southwest Regional Council of Carpenters. They commented on the MND. We responded to those comments. They submitted another letter just yesterday. The applicant will talk about that with his attorney, but we will have a response to this letter ready for council when the project goes to council. The other item I just wanted to bring to your attention, the errata sheet, which has some amended conditions for both Resolution 28-10, which is the parcel map, as well as Resolution 28-11, which is the plot plan. So as part of any motion on those two items, The maker of the motion will have to make sure that it includes the edits that are contained in this errata sheet. With that said, I will conclude my presentation and answer any questions the commission may have.
Do we have any initial questions?
My only question is how long, for the design, how long was that conversation with that?
Gosh, Jim, how long has the project been in? 11, 12 months? Yeah, about a year.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Then would the applicant like to address the commission?
Before the applicant speaks, could you open the public hearing, please?
I would like to first open the public hearing, and then we will hear from the applicant.
Great. Thanks. I'm Rob Mann. I'm the sponsor for the proposed Wildomar Crossing Retail Project. Thank you to the commissioners for taking the time to consider and hold this hearing. Thank you to Mr. Bassey, Mr. York, and city staff. We work closely. It seems like it's been longer than 12 months. I have in my notes that we actually started the project in 2014, working on preliminary site plans, researching zoning and allowed uses, starting to look at tenants and monitor improving economy. In early to mid 2016, we did submit a pre-application and met with city staff. And from there, the direction that they gave us, we built a team coordinated of at least 10 consulting firms, over 20 consultants, working to design and prepare the complete application submittal and required studies. Late 2016, we submitted the application and continued to refine the project's architectural design, landscaping, site plan, civil engineering, and all aspects of the project through several rounds of responses to city comments. We worked to improve all elements of the project, but some notable things to talk about are the bio. Mr. Bassey mentioned an outfall area, a separate lot that required state agencies to visit the site, Army Corps of Engineers, Fish and Game, and for us to comply with their requirements. Traffic. The corner of Clinton Keith and Sable Lane Road, as you all might know, is a very, very busy intersection, currently without a stoplight. We did a traffic report and studied the site seriously and took the recommendations very seriously and agreed to put in the stoplight along with other off-site improvements along the frontage of our site. From the very beginning, it was hard not to notice that we're in close proximity to residential neighborhood. In fact, before we went into contract to buy the site, we helped the developer of that site because there were some slope issues and so forth. So we knew what the future of that site would be. So it was always in our mind. We held a public meeting, our neighborhood meeting in the fall of 2017, and we had a lot of good concerns and a lot of neighborhoods willing to participate and were concerned about their neighborhood and the city and the project. Some of their concerns were easily addressed as soon as we mentioned the traffic light and what we were doing in regard to improving that intersection. Some had specific concerns, like their house looks right down over the site. We explained to them that we had worked hard with our landscaping and positioning the buildings and adding additional specific landscaping to help shield those buildings from looking from the north. In addition, we worked with staff to come up with additional funds, make additional funds available to provide additional landscaping on the slope that the neighbors can add to help screen the project. Also, as Mr. Bassey mentioned, there was some concern that trucks may come out of our site and make a left up into the neighborhood. So we'll post signs there restricting that use, in addition to signs for no loitering on the property. The entire process, we feel, delivered a very functional retail project with very high quality and cohesive architecture. It meets the city design standards and CEQA standards. I have Jim Rochelle, who managed the entire process for our team throughout here to answer any questions. We also have members of our team. If you have any specific questions, we can try to answer for you.
Do you have any immediate questions for the applicant?
Yeah, I do. I appreciate the sensitivity of the placement of the buildings and the landscaping. Very, looks like it has very good coverage, and I understand that there is even more work with the applicants according to this errata sheet. My concern is looking at the design is that I would have liked to see a higher quality design of the building architecture. It kind of reminds me of what was the facades before. We've upgraded down the block, and so would like to see a building that is more in line with the barn or Baxter Village, and kind of where we're headed with that. So I would like to see a little more upscale on the design.
Take this? Sure. This is Jim Rochelle.
Good evening, Jim Rochelle with Man Properties. We did work extensively with staff on trying to refine the architecture to bring in a craftsman, the modern craftsman style that he indicated in his presentation. There's ways we can articulate the building a little bit more if that's what commission would like to see, but we feel that given the setting and the surroundings, this really did fit with what would be appropriate for the site. So we'd like to hear suggestions, but we feel that with staff's support and what we worked with staff, that we did address those concerns and brought a project that could be, of high quality that the city would be supportive of.
When you say additional articulation of the buildings, could you describe what that would look like?
Without, adding more fenestrations and more pop-outs onto the building facade along the parking lot or maybe the street fronts. We could certainly entertain something like that.
Okay.
We feel that specifically the AutoZone building, has done, and the Wendy's building, we had come up with something that had a lot of articulation to it.
Mm-hmm.
We could look at some other options on the rear two buildings, if that's the concern.
I was looking more at the Dollar Tree building and can you go flip through them?
That's the Dollar Tree there.
And the AutoZone building, specifically it just seemed that the triangle on the top that was like, hi, I'm a craftsman, but I'm really a box. It just seemed to, yeah. And the view all the way around it. So those were the two that really seemed to not be as pleasing.
Okay. I mean, there's many ways to do what you're talking about doing. We could look at some, adding some details to, those buildings to address your concerns. The barn is one that you referred to specifically.
And we also have another project that's been approved by city council that is Baxter Village.
So are you thinking like more wood, less stucco?
And it just looks really flat.
But like I said, there's ways
Yeah.
you can add some undulation to the building, maybe introduce some more materials to break up some of the stucco feel to it. There's certainly ways to do that.
Thank you.
I agree, 100%. And if you look at the, Matt, if you can go through and look at the residential that's not leased yet, that really left a lot, like, there's nothing there. Really, there's not even the craftsman piece on that. So I agree, we need to make this look a little bit more like some of the structures that we've approved recently and the direction that we're trying to take the city, keeping it a little bit more rural looking and not so much box stucco, if possible.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the applicants? No? Do we have community speakers on this?
Yes. We have Greta Goblin.
Yeah, that's me. Hi. I'm Greta Coplin. You don't have to hear it that loud. Hey. Do you want to hear my address? Okay, don't need to hear that. Okay, I own the property. I bought it in 2000, and I bought it to develop it with the sole intent that it would be developed. Waiting for this time, because there was nothing around then, as you know. There wasn't even Wildomar then. So now's the time. I've been working with Rob Mann for 4 years. He's been working on this project. And I've been impressed with his team because I'm sure they're going to listen to your suggestions. They've been very cooperative. And he's been cooperative with me. And I like his choices of tenants. They're good, good solid businesses. They're not going to go out of business. You're not going to have empty buildings. You're not going to have an empty lot with, these businesses are really good, sound businesses. I support the project, and I support them. I think they're going to do a good job. And I've been waiting for them. This is our time, you guys. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Jeff Foreman.
Good evening. Thanks for spending the time to analyze this project. My name is Jeff Foreman. I'm the real estate director at Dollar Tree Stores. My region is responsible for opening 80 stores a year, mostly out here in the West, and we've been trying to get into this market for quite some time. We are very well received in Temecula and Elsinore and Paris, the surrounding communities. We are, people love our stores. They've been in our stores, they love our stores. We're great if you're having parties, we're great if you're entertaining friends, you want snacks, health and beauty, and you can't beat our prices. I just want to, I wasn't really sure how to address the crowd here. I know that we are continually ranked very high in consumer experiences. In fact, in the chain store age, we were ranked the #1 retailer as far as the customer experience. So we're just very excited, and we want to be good corporate neighbors. We want to listen. If you want us to deliver at certain hours, we'll happily do that, and we'll do whatever it takes, and we'll be as cooperative as possible to be a good corporate neighbor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Michael Chastain.
Hey, good evening to you guys. My name is Michael Chastain. I'm an AutoZone real estate manager. I manage a West Coast team. I personally started working on this project before the city was incorporated. And it took a long time to find the right tenant mix, the right retailers that were willing to come into the area. When we were looking at this area 10 years ago, and it's so drastically different than what it was, residential and commercial. We promote from within our company. Our regional manager is here tonight, and the district manager. Much of our management comes from the store level through the stores. So after 10 years, I'm really hoping we get a yes tonight. And if you got any store development questions, I can answer those. Thank you.
Thank you.
Levon Ag?
It's Levon Age.
Oh, sorry.
It's all right. Good evening. I am one of the persons he was talking about in terms of the district manager. Although I'm not in this area, but I do live in this community. I've been here for about close to 10 years now. And I would like to say that as far as the automotive industry goes, or our retail store, for me and some of the folks in my community, and I live in Windstone Ranch, about 5 minutes away from here, it's sort of difficult when we're looking for parts and we have to go to either Lake Elsinore or to Marietta. And looking at our community, it's constantly growing with homes and so forth, and I think it would be a great idea to have that AutoZone built in this area. Not just because I work for AutoZone, but because it is convenient for the folks in our area. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Zubier?
Good evening, my name is Zubier Saki. I'm the regional manager, operations manager for the area. My territory pretty much covers from the Mexico border all the way to Long Beach. And I just was here to if there's any questions or anything to talk about our operations. We're good partners with our community in Marietta, Lake Elsinore, Temecula. We've been, like Chastain, Michael has said, we really would like to get into this community. It's been like 10 years waiting. And we would hopefully get the thumbs up, to help the community. And one of the things that also brings we promote within. We have folks that live in this community, works for us and drives all the way to Corona. We like to bring those folks back home to live in their community and work in their community. So if you guys have any questions operation-wise or anything like that, I'm here for that. So hopefully you give us a thumbs up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Michael London?
Good evening, my name is Michael Lundeen with Canyon Pacific. I'm a real estate broker. I've been a real estate broker for about 20 years. I've worked on a number of commercial real estate projects like the shopping center throughout Riverside County. And I want to say first and foremost, this center is really state-of-the-art in a wonderful area with very low vacancy rates. Throughout the Inland Empire, we have much higher vacancy rates. I'd say the vacancy rates in the Wildomar area along the Clinton Keith corridor are really in the 5% range. And in fact, I was just on the phone recently with someone mentioned the barn. The owner of the barn told me that she's almost full. So this is a wonderful place for retail and commercial development. Obviously, the property is set up as commercial development within the general plan. And there's over 1,000 new residential homes that are either in all facets of construction going on presently within the Wildomar area, like within 2 miles of the site. So there's a real need within the community for retail, as well as specifically quality national, recognizable names, as well as local options, like coffee shops and restaurants. So, besides the Dollar Tree, the AutoZone, the Wendy's, there's going to be opportunities for local businesses as well, to help spur the community forward. Because, I've been working on this project for a number of years, really believe in it, really believe in the city of Wildomar, and excited to be here. So thank you very much, I really appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Syed Bokai? Sorry if I mispronounced.
No, you did fine. My name is Ziad Bukai. Myself and my brother are Wendy's franchisees. We've been in the system for about 27 years. We own and operate 28 locations in Southern California and 6 in Orlando. We have one currently being built in Stanton, California, and one in also Orlando. So we'll be having 36. On every single Wendy's that we've built, we've had unanimous approval by the commission. That's how we'd like it. That's how we want to keep it. We want to make sure that we are welcomed in any community that we come in. We always give back. I mean, the giving back in the Wendy's brand, it's a foundational philosophy made by the founder, Dave Thomas. And we did win last year, 2017. We were actually chosen by the Wendy's. We had the most remodeled activities in the system for mid-size franchisee. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Michael Schweitzer? Sorry, I got that one wrong.
Close enough.
Apologize.
All right. Michael Schweitzer with SWS Engineering. We've been on the project since the very beginning. We're the civil engineers on the project. Mostly here just to answer some questions if anything comes up on the civil engineering side. Would like to thank staff for working with us and partnering with us on the entitlements. Thank you.
Jimmy Elrod?
Hello, good evening. My name is Jimmy Elrod. I'm a representative with the Southwest Regional Council of Carpenters. I know you guys have received our letters in regards to the project. The Southwest Regional Council has submitted 2 letters regarding the Wildomar Crossing Retail Center project, one on March 1st, 2018, in response to the MND, and one on April 17th, 2018, in advance to tonight's meeting here. Due to the limited amount of time for public comment, these public comments will focus only on a few of the issues that were raised in 2 of the letters that were sent to you guys. The city has prepared a MND where an EIR is in order because of the evidence of potential significant environmental impacts. Importantly, the MND has failed to provide an adequate analysis in regards to GHG emissions, as well as for the cumulative impacts for air quality. The MND also fails to provide the analysis necessary to demonstrate that the project will not result in the delay of timely attainment of air quality standards. The MND's cumulative impacts analysis for air quality is troubling because it adopts the insupportable principle that project-specific and cumulative significance thresholds are the same. This overrides a fundamental principle stated in the CEQA guidelines. Cumulative impacts can result from individually minor but collectively significant projects taking place over a period of time. Preparation of an EIR is necessary because a fair argument that the project may have significant impacts does truly exist. Preparation of an EIR would allow for the public to consider alternatives to the project and fully flesh out all of the mitigation measures, sorry, a little tongue twisted tonight, that would be necessary to address the significant environmental impacts of the project. I just ask you to keep this in mind while you're casting your vote here tonight, and I appreciate your time. Thanks.
Thank you.
Jesus Maldonado?
Good afternoon. I live in the North Branch development, and I understand the development of the
commercial property is relevant and it's wonderful. But I agree not only with the fact that you need to upgrade what you're building, but I was hoping that as a planning commission, you would try to upgrade the entire area. We have all these coffee shops, we have all these little mom and pop stores, and we do need some national, but what type of big merchandise companies do we need here? That's the focus. You know, why don't we go along the lines of trying to think a little bit in the future and saying how do we build up the corridor of this big off-ramp where we want people to say, the only place, because there's an AutoZone on California Oaks, there's a dollar store somewhere over here by the 215, so you don't have to travel far for that. But I was hoping that as a commission, you would try to upgrade not only the building, but the number and who you bring in as merchants into the community. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay.
Debbie Yuan.
Hello, council members. My name is Debbie Yuan. I live at the North Ranch community. And I'd like to just say that, I appreciate the developer and all the merchants coming up to speak. And we have been in close contact with the neighborhood surrounding this particular location. This proposed project, Wildomar Crossings Retail Center, very sadly in the community has been known to be called the C- Retail Center. Particularly because of the design proposed and the stores that are proposed to go into that location. And I agree with you all that said that the design actually do not look as upscale as some of the other neighboring retail stores like the Barn. Wildomar has been changing and improving quite a bit the last few years. We're becoming more elite, more recognized, have a higher reputation. And I understand that this project had been in planning for the last 4 years. A lot have changed in the last 4 years. We've had a lot of new homes coming up, a lot of new buildings. And currently, the way it is designed and the stores that are proposed are not consistent with the neighborhood. Right around it, the North Ranch neighborhood is a very upscale community. People all have professional jobs. And I don't have anything against stores like Dollar Tree or Wendy's or AutoZone, but the neighborhood has moved up in caliber, and so these stores, as they are currently planned, are no longer applicable to our community. And we had submitted a petition to the city as well as to the developer with over 100 neighbors and homeowners saying, no, these are not the kind of stores that we want, and these are not the kind of stores that we will participate in or visit. Just because the neighborhood is different than it was 4 years ago. And we've also submitted a list of suggestions that it appears the developer had not considered. We've had some really good suggestions along with the petition that we sent in. So we hope that at least the developer and the city will say, even if you cannot control who goes in there, but I think the developer has the power to say, okay, these are to approach more retailers that are more consistent with our neighborhood. And we are very concerned about having the transient population, which traditionally would shop at this kind of stores, to be around our neighborhood. We're very worried about the safety of our neighborhood and the integrity of our neighborhood, which I think we have a right to feel nervous about it. And in addition to saying that on Stables Lane, you're going to cut across with a driveway. Stable Lanes is the only access road reaching over 90 homes. That will affect us severely if there's a driveway right there. And I understand that one of the solutions is to put up some signs, some no left turn signs or no loitering. That actually makes our neighborhood very unsightly to have all these signs. Whereas the more serious issue is having the driveway on Stables Lane with so many of the homeowners coming in and out of that road. It will severely
Excuse me, your time is up.
Okay, all right. So I just really hope that the city will consider our objections, because after all, we're going to be affected and we are the taxpayers. Thank you.
Thank you. me hold down on the clapping. If you agree, you can put your hand up to show support, but please do not clap. Thank you.
No further comments.
We have no further public comment.
I'd like to make a comment. And I will be doing so by my right under the Brown Act not to fill out a card, comment card. Brown Act says I do not have to sign anything to speak. My question concerns the lights on the pylon sign and all of the signs on all of the buildings. Are they going to be on all night long? Is there a curfew on any of our signs? Because currently, with Clinton Keith Corridor, you can read a newspaper through the whole thing. You don't need any other lights. And will there be a ban on the overnight parking in that parking lot, seeing as how it's going to be treated as one big lot? Is there going to be anybody responsible for making sure that overnighters do not camp out in that parking lot? Other than that, that's all I have to say.
Thank you. And if we have no further comments, I will close the public hearing. Excuse me? My mistake. I'd like to invite the applicant back up to discuss some of the comments.
Hi, Jim Rochelle again. Speaking on the behalf of the signage first, there will be hours of operations that signs will be off after operations are complete, so they will not be on 24 hours or all night long. And as far as the loitering goes, that's really something that gets policed over time. We're not going to have on-site management per se to police that, but those are things that I don't know how we would control after hours. That would be something we'd like to hear the city's suggestions on that specifically. We did talk about the architecture, and we would love to work with staff and come up with some additional articulation, as we mentioned, to enhance the look of the center moving forward, and we entertain a condition if that's the commission's desire to work with staff after approval to come up with some additional articulation that brings up some of the design standard to some of these other projects that you've mentioned. Is there anything else you'd like me to comment on specifically?
Not for me.
Okay, all right.
All right.
Thank you.
So now I can close the public hearing. Thank you. That moves it to commission discussion. Would anyone like to kick off commission discussion?
I will. I had met with the developer, and he showed the project to me, and I had made some suggestions. At the time, I agree with Mr. Mays that maybe there needs to be some on-site security. We do have an issue in the entire Riverside County area with people trying to camp overnight, and if they find a spot where there isn't somebody maintaining it that allows it, it might not be a great idea.
So just a lot of input tonight. I appreciate that staff highlighted that our job is the general plan and land use, that we are not micromanaging who is brought in as companies, and that is something that I know the community is very concerned about, but that's not within our scope to manage that, positive or negative. And I appreciate the representatives of each of the companies coming in and sharing their stories and telling us about the impact to our community, the community members that live here, that work for their organizations. So really appreciate that. I've already mentioned the design issue, and it sounds like the developer is understanding what we're communicating on. And so I would hope that they would work with staff and on that design issue, because I think that is the one thing that is holding me up from moving the project forward. So.
Okay. I have a question for staff on the request for EIR regarding greenhouse gas. Did you guys, is that a qualified statement? Put it that way. I haven't had time to go through this most recent letter, so I'd just like further data on that.
Well, I'll let Mark comment on it, but just in general, we did a very detailed analysis of the air quality greenhouse gas in compliance with CEQA. So, Mark, if you want to maybe chime in on the technical part of it.
Certainly. The original letter submitted by the Carpenters Union is in your packet. It is the final ISMND, and in there you'll find a detailed response to comments. This letter summarizes their comments on to only focusing on the GHG and the air quality impacts. It doesn't raise anything new vis-a-vis the old letter. It's simply a reiteration and, if you will, an exclamation point on the issues that they've raised. I will be providing another written comment, a response to this comment, because it was done part of the record, to the City Council for their action as well, but in our opinion, it doesn't raise anything that hasn't already been addressed and is part of your record.
Thank you. I'd like to echo your comments regarding the upgrading of the stores. That's really not in our purview. That would be like me trying to tell my neighbor that they have to buy a Ford. Our job is to make sure that what does go in meets the city standards, meets safety standards, meets quality standards. I can't tell them what food to cook in a restaurant. Excuse me. I'm glad we discussed the signage lights. I went through the traffic study. I know there were concerns about traffic, but there is a 284-page study that was completed. I spent several hours reading it. It was not much fun. But there's a lot of good data in there. It does show that the amount of traffic, even during rush hour, is very minimal. So I believe that they've addressed all the problems that did come up. And putting in the light will make a difference, not just for them, but for the residents as well. Regarding the overnight parking, somebody can park on your street, somebody can park near your home. They can park in virtually any parking lot in this city, and the only thing that stops that is our police department. We don't have roving parking enforcement at night throughout the city other than the police department, so I don't really support having security for a specific store for this. I do appreciate the condition on the fascia, and I will recommend that as well. I think that's my initial discussion.
I want to thank the community members that came out. It's nice to see people involved in the community. I wish we had them more often. Get involved, not just when it affects your neck of the woods, but the whole community. I want to thank the developer and the property owner. It is a nice commercial building structures in our community that is on our general plan. I want to thank those that came out from Wendy's and Dollar Tree and AutoZone. We hope you give back to the community when you get to develop in our community. It's nice to create more jobs and keep people closer to home. Those are all positive things for our community. I hope the developer does take to heart our suggestions on upgrading the building to fit more of what's been done recently. That's really important. And it's something that this planning commission has really worked very hard for. That's it. But thank you.
Further?
My only question is, do we continue the project until we see back on the design, or do we move it forward and let the council deal with the design? What?
I don't have a problem letting it move forward to council.
What's your recommendation?
Well, it's not for me to make a recommendation on that particular item. That's a discussion that the commission
That's the discussion.
will accommodate either way.
Can we approve it noting that that's going to take place?
You sure can. Well, you're not going to be approving the resolutions tonight. The resolutions are
recommendation.
a recommendation to the city council. As part of the plot plan resolution, we can add a condition that requires the applicant to submit a substantial conformance. If the council approves the project, to enhance the architectural treatment that has been done. So if anyone makes a motion on the plot plan could come up with that language, we could certainly put that in and forward that to the council for review.
Any further discussions? Then, do I have a motion on PC Resolution 2018-08?
I motion that we approve the recommendation to the city council for PC resolution number 2018-08.
I'll second.
Roll call vote.
Chairman Lloyd,
Aye.
Vice Chair Thomas,
Aye.
Commissioner Strong,
Aye.
Commissioner Langworthy.
Aye.
Resolution passes 4-0.
Get a motion on PC Resolution 2018-09.
I'll motion to approve PC resolution number 2018-09.
And I'll second.
Roll call vote.
Chairman Lloyd,
Aye.
Vice Chair Thomas,
Aye.
Commissioner Strong,
Aye.
Commissioner Langworthy.
Aye.
Resolution passes 4-0.
Okay, and is one of these where we have to put the errata in?
That's the 10 and 11.
Correct, yeah.
And 11's the one with the plot plan.
The 10 has the edits, correct?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and make a motion to PC resolution number 2018-10, including the changes in the errata sheet, to approve that as well.
Did our lawyer have any other comments on that? Are we good?
No.
We have a motion. Have a second.
I'll second.
Roll call vote.
Chairman Lloyd,
Aye.
Vice Chair Thomas,
Aye.
Commissioner Strong,
Aye.
Commissioner Langworthy.
Aye.
Resolution passes 4-0.
Okay, so this is the one that we would like to have the correct language for the design.
There's specific language that would work best for us to condition the additional fascia.
Well, what I would suggest is that we enter into the record prior to the issuance of building permits, the applicant shall submit a substantial conformance application to the planning department for planning director review and approval to address the architectural upgrade issues that have been raised by the planning commission tonight.
So, and then this would go before the council.
Yes. And that would be an added condition to the plot plan in addition to the edits on the errata sheet that you have.
So I would move that the errata on the revised editions, conditions, and the language that you just said so eloquently about the design conditions would amend the resolution 2018-11 regarding the plot plan for the building design.
You have a motion, do you have a second?
Is that a
I'm
clear
sorry,
motion?
I didn't hear that there was actually a motion to approve the resolution. I heard a motion to amend the resolution.
Okay, to amend and to approve with amendments?
Yes.
To approve with amendments. Thank you for clarifying that.
Good. We have a second for that.
I'll second.
Roll call vote.
Chairman Lloyd,
Aye.
Vice Chair Thomas,
Aye.
Commissioner Strong,
Aye.
Commissioner Langworthy.
Aye.
Resolution passes 4-0.
All right. That moves us to general business.